my name is Erika Suarez, and I'm a fellow at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. And we are here interviewing Kelly Berry, who has some work up at the Arts Center right now. And Kelly, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Like I say, my name's Kelly. I'm a photographer. I started originally a long time ago with photography in high school, like a lot of people do, on the school yearbook and newspaper and that sort of thing. This was in a small town in New Mexico called Portales, New Mexico. I'm a Fort Worth. I'm originally from Fort Worth. Have lived around DFW most of my life, but my high school years, my family lived in New Mexico. And my last year of high school there was at that time still a daily newspaper, or at least 6 days a week newspaper. And I worked part-time at the town's newspaper for just shy of a year, doing photography and darkroom work. And that's how I kind of got started with photography. Uh, Pursued it a little bit right after high school, but then kind of went away from it. My camera gear was stolen actually out of my car a long time ago, and I was cameraless for a long time. But then in the late '90s, kind of started getting interested in it and again, and bought some gear and got involved with the Plano Photography Club here locally for a few years.
Very cool. I'm so sorry about that. I've heard from so many people actually that they've had their gear stolen, and it's so unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, it was downtown Fort Worth. I was going to a night class at
Mhm.
community college at the downtown campus, and somebody broke into my car and actually locked my car back for me. But
Oh, how kind of them. Oh no. Well, that's really cool. So I noticed, so I saw some of your work at the Arts Center and talking about that particularly, what kind of made you gravitate towards showcasing that work with us?
okay, I'll kind of explain it from my initial interest in it, but then maybe something that occurred to me later that might have had something to do with it. So I was looking in preparation for this today. I was looking back through my images and trying to see when did I start photographing this kind of subject matter, which, by the way, is sort of little food stands and food vendors and kind of old school food carts and things of
Mhm.
that nature. And I think it pretty much began on a vacation, a family vacation in 2009. We went to New Mexico, actually. My wife's from New Mexico, and we stayed in Hobbs, New Mexico overnight one night, and I had my camera gear, and I just went out like I often do on for a business trip or a family trip or something, or even locally around here. I'll just go out and see what I can find to photograph, see what catches my interest. And there were some of these little kind of food stands, none of which are in the show.
Mhm.
And the pictures weren't very good. It was not a good time of the day. They were all closed, there were no customers around or anything like that. But it got my interest.
Mhm.
And I was, contemplating, why am I drawn to this subject matter? Why does this interest me? And then I started thinking about my own life. And well, when I was a kid, I mean, very young, I don't know the exact timing of this, but my mother, before I was born, was a part owner in a little hamburger stand place in Fort Worth on East Rosedale with her sister and her brother-in-law.
Mhm.
And at some point, she sold her interest in this back to them. But when I was a kid, she would still go down there and work, like if somebody was out sick or something like that. And I can remember hanging as a very small kid. I think the latest memories, I must have been 5 or 6 years old or something. But playing around the place and them giving me some little task to do in the kitchen or something just to keep me busy, I think. But
Sure.
but so I was kind of hanging around one of these places as a small child a bit, and maybe that had something to do with me being attracted to these kind of places.
I do have to ask too, when you go up to these places and people kind of see you bringing out your camera and stuff, are you able to, well, not pre-COVID, or were you able to, strike up a conversation? Have you gotten to meet any interesting people as far as,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I try to be uh, a good customer and a friendly photographer and so forth. So I don't try to just dive bomb a place and just start doing my thing. I always would ask permission on
Hmm.
the trips when I would travel, like when I went to Houston and then some other, even out for the day, all day around here. I would try to buy something, buy food and eat, but that became problematic if I'm doing this all kind of all day. I have to eat a couple of places and then now I'm not hungry anymore. So I think a few times I bought meals and only took a few bites and had to
Yeah, just
pitch the rest of it. But I tried to uh, and chat with people. I've even taken a few photos back to places and stuff on subsequent,
oh,
photos.
that's so nice. Yeah, interesting. So aside from that, what do you feel like influences your work a lot? Do you have any other photographers or family members or just day-to-day life that you kind of find inspiration from, or just
Well, I can't really. I mean, of course, I admire lots of all the great classic photographers, pretty much, and things like that. I mean, I love to go to right across the street from the art center to the Amon Carter. In fact, they have an exhibition there right now I haven't seen yet that I'm eager to go see. Um, but but no, as far as what I shoot, it often. I mean, I have other series of work, that I've shown before and hope to show down the road. And it usually is just kind of like with the food series, something I stumble upon it or have a little bit of an idea
Mhm.
and start working with it and then really get interested in it and like some of the early images and just keep pursuing it for a while. Uh, and it's again looking back on doing this now for a while, uh, it's kind of a selfish act in a lot of ways because I just do what I want to do.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to make money with photography, you need to be shooting weddings and
Right.
senior portraits and things of that nature, which don't interest me at all. And I don't know if it's really fine art what I do either. It's somewhere between fine art and documentary and sometimes abstract even, but it's just what interests me. And then I hope somebody else wants to look at it when I've declared something finished. So
Mhm. I think that's a good way to look at it. I feel like a lot of artists tend to put themselves in a box, and why? Just do what you like. If you don't want to do things for other people, don't do them, which includes weddings and all that stuff. So that's a really awesome outlook to look at it from. What other projects are you working on or have ideas for? Is there anything else that we can, look forward to in the next couple of months, years from you?
well, hopefully, I mean, something I want to work on. I've worked on it a little bit. I find it extremely challenging and difficult, though. Is so I like street photography a lot, um, and but the opportunities around here are kind of limited for that, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, it's often more interesting in an urban, very urban environment, and there's not so much opportunity for that here. But I've done variations on it a little bit in downtown Dallas, or shooting like setting up and shooting passersby even against a brick wall or something on a tripod, and then combining them together, in the computer, much like you would a multiple exposure with a film camera, and put a lot of people in the same space in an unnatural way, you could say,
Right.
or even just straight up street photography. So I may pursue that some more. Um, I've also got a series that shooting it overlapped with the food cart, or the way I call foodies.
Mhm.
The show is called Landmarks there at Fort Worth Community Arts Center, but I was kind of shooting both at the same time for a while, and even shot images for both series on trips. And that's I call it daily bread. It's grain elevators.
Oh,
Uh, Kind of comes from my being in New Mexico. It's a big farming where we were, where I lived in high school, and where my wife is from is a big farming community. So, and all over the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma, and even beyond, of course, there's lots of grain elevators.
mhm.
Uh, so I've shot a lot of traveled and shot pictures of those, particularly old ones. Try to find these really old ones made out of wood and metal, and many times abandoned. And
Mhm.
so I'll maybe try to show that sometime too.
Yeah, that sounds good. It seems like there's that New Mexico influence is coming out then. Seems like you got a little bit of Fort Worth, you got a little bit of New Mexico. That's pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, we love New Mexico. We really
I've
love
only been there once, but it's really beautiful. Very hot, but very beautiful. But it was a pleasure talking to you, Kelly.
it. Same here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Give your website a shout out. I think it's kellyberry.com, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. You have a good
Okay.
day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.